Welcome back, students. The next topic is agents of cross pollination. So, you have read some of the types of cross pollination in class 8, like entomophily, anemophily, wind pollination, and hydrophily. So, same we will revise again. And if there are some more new types of pollination, that also we will study. So, the two commonest agents of cross pollination are insects and wind. But some flowers are also pollinated by certain animals and birds like squirrels, bats, etc., or even by water in case of aquatic plants, you all know. So, first of all, in this topic, you just need to go through the characteristic features and examples of the flowers or the plants which are pollinated by the agent, like insect pollinated, also known as entomophilous. So what will be the features of the plants of the flowers which are pollinated by insects? Obviously flowers will be large, the corolla will be brightly colored to attract the insects, and they will emit scent, and they will produce nectar. Pollen grains are sticky or spiny so that when the insects visit them, they get stuck to their body parts. Stigma is also sticky so that when the insects visit, the pollen grains are accepted by they get stuck to the sticky stigma. The flowers tend to be in clusters to make them conspicuous, especially in cases of where individual flowers are small, for example in dahlia. If flowers are very small, like in sunflower in dahlia, inside you have seen that brown disc, there are many numerous flowers, androecium and gynoecium, and all are very close together, so that whenever insects visit, the pollen grains can easily land on the stigma. Okay, then wind pollinated or anemophilous flowers usually possess the following features. The flowers are small. For wind pollination, you have read flowers are small and they are usually not brightly colored. They do not produce any scent. The stamens are long and hang out of the flower to be exposed to wind. For example, maize. Just turn your book on the next page and you can see this figure. This is the male inflorescence, the male flower of the maize plant, and you can see how it hangs out of the plant, and there are so many pollen grains and they all can be easily blown by the wind. And the female cones are also born on the same. These are the female cones. Okay, the cob. So pollen grains will be produced in large number and they may not be very bright or colored. Flowers will not be bright or colored. Then anthers are large and loosely attached to the filaments. So that slightest wind, anthers are attached very slightly so that if there is small breeze or wind, they can easily be taken by the wind. Pollen is produced in very large quantities. Pollen grains will be light, dry, and smooth, and stigmas are feathery and hang out of the flower to trap the pollen grains. Third type will be water pollinated or hydrophilous. The plants will have following features. Pollen grains are produced in large numbers because many of them will fail to reach in water. So in large numbers, there will be chances of some of the pollen grains they may reach the stigma. In some plants, pollen grains have a specific gravity almost equal to that of water, so that they remain floating below the surface of water. So the pollen grains, they float on the surface of the water so that they can reach the stigma. In some special cases, male flowers are such that they float on the surface of water till they meet female flowers. For example, in Vallisneria. In class 8 also you have studied the same diagram, and you have studied that the female flowers, they come on the top of surface of the water, and their style are very long like this, and they reach the top of the surface and they can meet the pollen grains. Pollen grains are already floating in the water, so they can come in contact. Okay, and this favors water pollination, hydrophilous. Some flowers pollinated by birds. Now this is new term. By birds you have to study, underline it. This is ornithophily. So far you have studied entomophily, anemophily, and hydrophily. Now ornithophily refers to the bird pollination. The flowers which are pollinated by birds, and learn the examples Bignonia and Canna. Then next is some flowers are also pollinated by animals like elephant, and we will call it elephophily. Elephophily is the pollination facilitated by elephants. It is found in Rafflesia. Rafflesia, the largest flower, whose flowers are very large and are found at ground level. The pollen grains of one flower get stuck to the feet of elephants and they may be carried to the stigma of another flower when the flower gets trampled by their feet, comes under the feet of the elephant. So, 5 types of pollinating agents and types of pollination is described in your book. So, which 5 types you have studied? First, you have studied insect pollination, entomophily, then wind pollination, anemophily, then hydrophily, water pollination, then ornithophily, bird pollination, and the fifth one is elephophily. Elephophily, that is pollination by elephant. And you have to study one example of each. For elephophily, example is Rafflesia. Fine. Then just again one recapitulation of artificial pollination. We have also studied that nowadays artificial pollination is quite in common and the scientists are always finding new techniques so that these days artificial pollination is one of the most adopted practice by the scientists, and with our own hands uh, we can evolve new varieties. So for artificial pollination, what we have to do is, first of all, the first process will be emasculation. Please underline this, emasculation. Emasculation is the process to remove the anthers. In bisexual flowers, what we will do, the first of all, what the scientists do, they remove the anthers in the young stage, and this process is known as emasculation. And then that flower is covered by a plastic bag. The covering of the flower with plastic bag is called bagging. After emasculation, after removing the anthers, the flowers are covered with plastic bags. So that, why they are covered? So that cross pollination is not possible. And then after some time, when the stigma is mature, then they bring the pollen grains, they pollinate the flowers with pollen from the other plants of desired variety, of a good variety, and so that after fertilization we get well desirable seeds for the next generation. Now next is some examples of pollination. Two examples are given in detail. One is in insect pollinated pea plant. In pea plant, both types of pollination are possible, cross pollination as well as self pollination. If suppose it is mostly pollinated by insects, so when the pea plant is a very particular type of flower, modified flower, if you get to see, the flower is somewhat like this. The petals are arranged in a very modified manner. The outermost large petal, this is the outermost large petal, which is called standard petal, first petal. Inside the standard petal, we have two more petals. It encloses two petals, we call them wing petals. Then inside the wing petals, there is a third petal, we call it keel petal. So innermost keel, then middle wing petal and outermost standard petal. You can see here keel, then wing, two wing petals and then standard petal. Inside the keel petal are enclosed the anthers and the stigma. Now these are the anthers and the stigma. In the previous chapter we have studied that pea plant is diadelphous. There are 10 stamens, 9 stamens are together, these 9, and their filaments are joined to form a staminal tube. And the 10th stamen is free. And enclosed inside is the female part. This is the stigma, this style, and the inside there will be ovary. Okay, this one. So normally when the honeybee or the insect will visit and it lands on this petal, so as it will start to suck the nectar or pierces its mouth parts inside, the wing petal and the keel petal will bend downwards and it may be carrying some pollen grains. So these stigma and the anthers will come together. Okay, and there may be cross pollination. Otherwise, if it is not possible, then there is every chance of self pollination because the anthers and the stigma are very close to each other, and then there can be self pollination also. Fine. So this was about the pea plant. This diagram may come for labeling or for identifying. So please read it carefully and go through it. And second one is in wind pollinated maize. One is insect pollinated, they have explained. Other one is wind pollinated maize plant. Maize plant is wind pollinated and it is a monoecious plant. This is the male inflorescence. Tassel, we call it tassel, male inflorescence bearing large number of anthers having millions of pollen grains. These are the female cones below, and female also have feathery stigma so that they can easily get the pollen grains. So when the anthers mature earlier in maize plant than the stigma, so that self pollination is avoided and there are chances of cross pollination. Okay, and male inflorescence, when it is ripe, the pollen grains will be taken by the wind. A slight wind will shake them, they will blow away wind and they can land on the other plants, and the stigmas are already sticky and feathery, so they will take the pollen grains. Okay, then let us come on to progress check. Match the items in column 1 with those column 2. Feathery stigma hanging out. This is wind pollination. Right, number 1. Different timings for maturation of anthers and stigma. So I told you this is called dichogamy. Then pollination by elephant. This is in case of Rafflesia. And flowers produce nectar. That is in entomophilous flowers. Insect pollinated flowers, they produce nectar. Now complete the following statements. Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains. Pollen grains from the, you can complete the sentence, from the anthers to the stigma of the plants. The two kinds of pollination are, you all know which two kinds, self and cross. For self-pollination, the flowers need not be attractive and showy. You can use any word, attractive, large, or anything. For self-pollination, dash and dash must mature at the same time. Anthers and stigma must mature at the same time. Self-pollination does not yield new varieties. In dash pollination, there is much wastage of, in cross pollination, there is much wastage of pollen grains. So study till here, till I come back with the next video. Thank you very much. God bless you.